How's it going, everybody? Nobody
Hey,
here.
we are officially live. No viewers yet.
We're here to piss off the liberals today. We're hoping some new liberal visitors come and join us.
Hence the idea of the new title. We are the deplorables of the round table. But this title was Eric's idea, so I thought he might be onto something. Let's try it.
We're gonna pull in some. Now, it can be I'll tell you what, though, if they're searching Trump 2020, it might be an overwhelming amount of positive feedback we got here.
Alex Feniger, how you doing, man?
Have we seen him in the chat before?
I think I saw him once, maybe. I don't know. Have you been here before, Alex? Sup, Dwayne? How are you doing? Hope you guys like the new title. It was Eric's idea. We thought we could piss off a lot of liberals with that title. So I'm like, all right, why not? Let's try it.
I think we could. If we get up to maybe 20 viewers at a time, that'd be awesome. I can't live stream because they tell me I don't have enough subscribers unless I just can't live stream with my phone.
Probably you can't do it with your phone because on the other show that I do with my buddy Ben, we just have barely over 100 subs, and we're able to live stream.
Yeah, I guess I could do a live stream one of these times. Not that anybody would watch. My channel doesn't really get any viewership at all, hardly, except for one video I made that had it has almost 2,000 views now.
Do you tag it?
No, I just called it Savannah Guthrie is a bitch.
No. I mean, do you tag the video? Like, do you add tags to it, like search tags?
What is my level of confidence with it for a Trump win? I would say my confidence right now, it fluctuates, but I'd say my confidence right now is probably at about 55-60% certain, because there's that outside chance that what were you about to say, Sean?
I was gonna say I'm 100% certain.
Now the thing that, and I was watching some videos on this just earlier, that Democrats are assuming that they have a 2-to-1 advantage with the mail-in votes, but the reality is that would be assuming that all independent voters, all Democrat voters, and just 76% of Republican voters are going to vote for Donald Trump, and that's just not going to happen. That's how they figured out these polls too. That's the formula. So, and I've just read this on several news outlets. I watch a guy. He's named his name is Dr. Steve Turley. I'd recommend that as a watch for anybody. And they tell you exactly how they make these polls. This is how Rasmussen was making their poll, and it's very warped. It's very wrong.
Well, it's just, for me, it's hard to really trust the polls because back in 2016, they were saying Hillary in a landslide, and obviously that didn't happen. So I really take the polls with a grain of salt, dude.
I think we're going to see a very different election in 2020 than we did in 2016, mainly because of voter turnout. There were a lot of people that didn't turn out, specifically in those black communities, and I think that's going to be the same. And I think influencers like Ice Cube are going to have a lot to do with that, because Ice Cube pretty much called out the Democrats. Now, he's not a Trump guy. I don't agree with everything he says, but we're not getting nothing for our vote. So why should we go vote Democrat if we just get the promises broken every single year?
Yeah. And plus Ice Cube beat up Debo.
Oh, yeah.
Did you see the movie Friday?
No, I didn't. I did see him beat up Fredo Cuomo, though.
Oh, we got our first triggered liberal.
Oh, that's okay. Let's fire guy. Let's let him. We're going to give all triggered liberals a pass today. That's what I say. Let them all
Uh,
come make themselves look like fools.
I don't know if I'm going to go that far. It depends how far they go. Like Trump is a clown. Okay, I can live with that. I can handle that.
Trump
I'm
is a
not.
clown. How so, Fire Guy? Explain your reasoning. Do you think we will know on Tuesday night / Wednesday morning, or will it drag on? I think it'll drag on in certain states. There are certain states that it depends on what law they have in place. When are they allowed to count ballots by? I'm sure a lot of the Democrat states are going to drag it on forever. There's a lot of states though that are saying that any ballots that your ballot has to come in on November 3rd, and then there's some states that say that your ballot has to be postmarked by a certain date, and if it's postmarked after that deadline, they're not going to count it. So let's just say it was October 27th, right? Your ballot has to be postmarked October 27th. Say it comes in November 4th or 5th. They'll count it. Now, if your ballot is a day later than that and it comes in on that date, then your ballot's probably not going to get counted because it didn't come in by the deadlines, which is a fair way to do it, because just because there's a pandemic doesn't mean people should get any special treatment that they wouldn't otherwise get in a regular election.
Yeah, that makes sense. Myself, I just prefer to vote in person. That way I can see my ballot go into the machine, no questions asked.
Do you ever look at the number that's on the machine? Because every year I always see the number of ballots that have been put into each machine. It'll give you a count. And the one I live in a very small county called Madison County. It's not very big. It's got a lot of just small towns in it, and there were a total, and this was just in one day, and the polls were going to be open for another 3 hours. When I went in to vote, there were well over 1,800 votes cast during the early voting session.
Wow.
For where I live, that's quite incredible.
Yeah, I'd say so. Sorry, I was looking at something real quick. Jason Greenberg says, I think if Trump wins again, the liberal meltdown will be even worse than last time. You could ask Fire Guy what he's going to do when Trump wins.
Why does Biden deserve to win, and why is he the greatest vice president in history? I mean, I just know you're trolling when you say that, because there's definitely been Biden is definitely not the best Democratic candidate I've ever seen. He's got zero excitement around him. No one cares about Biden. Nobody. There are so many Democrats settle for Biden. They don't really want him. They wanted Bernie.
Well, you see, a theory that a buddy of mine would yeah, hey, Sorrowful Rage, what's up? Yeah, no, he is. We've seen this guy on several times before, so we know he is. And I've discussed this before, but a friend of mine was telling me that, and this is just a theory, but he thinks the Democrats could be blowing this election on purpose, just so that way they get 4 more years of Donald Trump, 4 more years to get their base fired up and piss people off and so on. So that way, when 2024 comes around, they have more momentum.
That's a horrible strategy. That's a horrible strategy.
I wouldn't put it past him, though.
That makes no sense, though. It's a terrible strategy, because I think that's going to have the opposite effect, just like every other strategy. And with how much the liberal media has been trying to blow up Trump and cover up for Biden, and just all of the steps they've been taking to try to just get Biden over the finish line, I think they're doing everything in their power to win the election. And unfortunately, with the system is for them, they couldn't get a better candidate out of the primary than Joe Biden, because they're failing in every aspect.
Jason Greensburg made a great comment here. I think most of them just like Kamala. Well, I think that's true too. I mean, that's what you really got to focus on here as the vice presidential candidate, because look, the Democrats all know that that Joe is old. He could very well have, first stage Alzheimer's. So they're thinking, hey, get him into office, and he croaks soon enough, Kamala Harris could be president. That's very possible. And Mike Biederman says, I think that we are screwed regardless of who becomes the president. Why do you think that, Mike?
Probably because the liberals are just going to destroy America and then claim it's Trump's fault.
Craig Sebring, yeah, he said something that rings true as well. My mom said that there were people that will vote for Biden just because they hate Trump. Yeah, that's true.
That's the only reason why they're voting Biden. If Trump was if Trump pulled in as many Democrats as Ronald Reagan did, this might even be a situation where Trump wins everything except for DC, which just blindly votes for the Democratic candidate every single year by an unbelievable margin. I'm pretty sure Hillary Clinton won that 92 to 8.
Yeah. It was pretty substantial, yeah.
Yeah, no one, yeah. So you could see Trump pull in 55% of the general vote. I wouldn't be surprised.
But I'll tell you one thing, dude. This is kind of going off topic for a second, but regardless of what side of the spectrum you're on, I'll just be glad as hell when the election's over.
Yeah. Well, Cowboys Longhorns, this is the thing, and this is what I, possibly have in mind. Because of the way that, we have our democracy, they can't just put Kamala. They can't just prop Kamala in there and say she's the candidate. They have to do the primary and everything, and then people have to figure out which one they like best, and then they have to go by who the people vote for, which Kamala was one of the first to drop out because she had 1% of the support, 1% from her own party. That is a joke.
Well, it's amazing that Biden would pick her if he actually did pick her, which I don't think he did.
No,
why would you put someone in there that is so very unpopular, even amongst her own party? I mean, obviously we know Biden himself is not very appealing, just because he looks like he's bored and doesn't want to be there. He has no personality. Kamala Harris, she's essentially the same. She looks like the principal at an inner city high school.
She's such an unlikable person too. Just the way, just her mannerisms, Jesus, could you be any more cringeworthy? And then, but what I think is that she's the exact type of radical left crazy that will do whatever they say that they want in there, because she will do anything she can to be in power. The way she viciously attacked Joe Biden during the Democratic primaries and in the past, and now all of a sudden she talks about him like it's her husband.
Yeah. And also, Dwayne, yeah, really, is Biden the best the Democrats could do? I've been saying that since he became the nominee. I even, another example, just to give a Republican example of that, I said the same thing back in 2008 when Obama won his first term. I thought, really, was John McCain the best that the Republicans could do?
I wouldn't have voted.
No, I'm going to full disclosure. 2008. I voted for Barack Obama.
And I'll be honest with you, and because I'm going to put myself in, because I know I wouldn't vote for Barack Obama right now if I had to go back. But if I had to go back and just look at what we all knew about Barack Obama in 2008 and 2012, he would have had my vote, because I never liked Mitt Romney anyways. I probably would never have voted for. I probably would have voted third party, because that was one of those years where it's which one's the shiniest of two turds? It's
yeah. I mean, Mitt Romney was like a freaking. He looked like a freaking economics professor. That's what he reminded me of.
Zero relatability to the middle class. There's none.
Yeah, and catching up on some comments here. Yeah, Mike. I really want to know why you think we're screwed of who's president either way. Cowboys Longhorn said, "I hope all the celebrities that say they will move out of the country if Trump wins will actually do it." I'm with you on that. Actions speak louder than words, so I agree. I think, we covered that. Want to make sure we didn't leave any of you guys out. Jason Greenberg. Cowboys Longhorns. I think we covered him with his Kamala Harris comment.
Right. He says Biden getting his butt kicked. The only reason it will be close because of all the libtards live in California and New York. But not saying you're one, Eric. You're fine. But all New York libtards that live there. Well, actually, Craig, the libtards are all in one section. If you actually look in upstate New York, you are going to have your liberal counties, just like every single state does. But for the most part, it's very conservative throughout most of New York. It is at least around here.
It's mostly in the big city areas where all the libtards are. Correct?
Oh yeah, it's horrible. It's horrible. Like you go to
kind of like how here
Utica. That's bad. Even though I'll tell you what, Utica is a lot more Republican than any other city in New York. That's for sure.
It's kind of like here in Illinois, like the two big cities, obviously would be the Chicagoland area. That's all liberal. Downstate in like the Bloomington Normal area, a lot of liberals down there. But the rest of the state, pretty much all red. Jason Greensberg had an unrelated question for us. Since it's Halloween, what is your guys' favorite horror movie? Well, I have a couple horror movies that I always watch this time of year that I really like. Sleepy Hollow with Johnny Depp. And then I'm also a fan of Tales from the Crypt, Demon Knight.
I would say for me, I liked the Grudge, the one that just came out. I liked that. I like the Amityville series, and I liked The Conjuring. I liked the Haunting. You know what I mean? The Paranormal Activity type of horror movies. I'm not as big into the psycho killer clown ones. They just don't float my boat. Like I just find them. I don't find it as interesting because I view the ones with the Paranormal Activity as more relatable to me because I actually have some experience with that stuff.
Oh, I gotcha. Of course, you could never go wrong with the Scream movies. Like, I was 10 years old when the first Scream came out back in '96.
Oh,
and
wow.
I remember I was surprised at 10 years old. My parents actually let me rent that. But really, I thought it was more like entertaining than scary. Ooh, excuse me. But Sorrowful Rage says, I am from near Chicago. It's the same here. All right, you know what I'm talking about. I live downstate from you in the Quad Cities here in Moline.
Well, what were you saying?
I was just telling Sorrowful Rage that he, in response to his comment, he says, I'm from near Chicago. It's the same here. And I was just like, yeah, here in the Quad City area, Moline and Rock Island, it's I'd say it's pretty blue here, but there's also a lot of red influence here too, because it's a city area, but we're close to a lot of country. So I mean, there's a lot of rural area around here too.
Rural areas is going to be where he gets his win. But here's the thing, and this is what's going to make New York. I'm not saying Trump's going to win New York, or it's places like Oregon or anything like that, or Illinois even. But I'm interested to see how this affects the voter turnout with all of the riots and all of the double standards and how far this Black Lives Matter movement was taken. And there's a reason why the media stopped covering the protests, because they were electing Trump by themselves. And it's just it just shows that the liberal Marxist media is trying so hard to ruin Trump's reputation that they're not only ruining their own, but they're ruining the Democrats' reputation, because Trump does an excellent job of turning it back around on them, saying, yep, it's these Democrat-run cities, and his message is getting out there.
Yeah. Like I said last night, I mean, these riots are doing nothing to help him. That's why. Because people are fed up with it. They're tired of it. So they're going to vote for Donald Trump. Cowboys Longhorn says Texas is starting to shift from red to purple. Well, of course, you know why that is, right? It's because you have all those libtards moving in there from California, and they're trying to force out, the conservative moral values.
Well, what's going to be funny is when that backfires, because say the Californians and New Yorkers and stuff move there and do turn Texas blue. Well, then that just leaves more room for California to turn red. And then we get the 55 electorals and they can have the 38. What a dumb trade that is.
Well, I guess they're banking on that they're going to be able to leave enough libtards behind to kind of conquer it.
Is that what they're trying to do? They're moving to Texas to try to make Texas turn blue. Well, Texas is still leaning red in the liberal Marxist polls. All right, so I don't know what they think they're going to do, because if Trump is leading in Texas and even the Marxist media, then imagine how much he's going to actually win by.
Well, you see, the thing is with Texas, what's in regards to what Cowboys Longhorn said here, because he said that Texas is starting to shift from red to purple, which means that liberal influence is coming in there. What's really helping that is the city of Austin alone. I mean, the slogan for the city of Austin, Texas is "Keep Austin Weird," and it's called that for a reason. I mean, I've never been to Austin, Texas, but I've seen plenty of it, on documentaries and stuff like that. It is a messed up city. It's liberal hipster galore. You name it. Any liberal aspect you can think of, they have it there.
They said Texas was going to turn purple in 2016 too. They were talking about that bullshit. Gone. Yep. See you later. Texas is red. Texas will be red, and if we're lucky, maybe they'll have taken enough libtards from California to turn that red too. And then we can turn Oregon red, and we can turn New York red, and we'll turn this whole fucking map red, and it's going to look like a Reagan versus Mondale map.
Yeah. But it's just like, I had a thought in my mind and I was going with it, but I forgot what I was going to say.
Let me grab my charger.
All right.
Running out of battery. I always seem to be running out of battery.
That happens.
It does.
No, Craig, that's a good point. It's always and Cowboys Longhorns. I'm adding your two comments into this too. But yeah, Austin has always been a crazy liberal city. I live right outside of it. Austin is insane. Unfortunately, Dallas and Houston are starting to trend the same way. Well, that's any big city for you. I mean, for some reason, all the major cities in every state attract the liberal crazies.
What is it about cities that they love so much? I don't get it.
I guess probably because a lot of them, they grow up in a rural area and they think the rural area is a hellhole and it's so bad and they want their little excitement and whatnot. Oh my God, like I get to go shopping and I there's so many people and there's big buildings. I don't get it either. I know there's more to do in a big city, of course, but
or because they're dumb.
I don't understand the fascination with it. I mean, look, I mean, I have friends in Chicago, and I've gone to Cubs games, I've gone to Bears games, but ain't no way in hell I'd ever live in that city. Screw that.
These are the same people, though. Keep in mind that, of course, they're going to fall for the shiny object because, I mean, they keep falling for free stuff every single year. free stuff. Vote for us, and they bait and switch.
Yeah. Craig brings up something that we were actually talking about last night. Biden said in his last debate he would get rid of oil, so that helps Trump in Texas and Pennsylvania and Oklahoma.
What a moron statement that was.
Really? Let's get rid of oil.
And phase out the oil industry.
Yeah, sorrowful rage. I actually have a good friend who lives in Chicago in the Wrigleyville area. Good friend of mine. He's just like me. He's very, very conservative Christian, and in particular the Lutheran denomination. And he is. We were actually texting last night, and he's like, "Sean, you were right when you said that. I am surrounded by liberal crazies." And I'm like, "I don't know how you do it, dude, but hey, you're better than me in that situation to be able to live up there."
Why in the hell does anyone still want to vote for a Democrat after what they're dealing with Mayor Beetlejuice?
I don't know. It's because I think maybe because how do I say this without it sounding bad?
Say it. It's going to sound bad either way. May as well just say it.
Well, first off, I want everyone to be clear. This quote actually comes from a guy by the name of Duron Slater, who he just recently stepped down from this position, but he was the head of Blexit in Minnesota.
And I know exactly what you're about to say.
Okay. Well, he himself is a black man, and he said this himself. And I know I've referenced this video many times. I can get it and even give you guys a link if you want to. But this guy, he was attacked by another black man because he was wearing his Trump shirt and Trump hat and whatnot. And this guy was basically calling him an Uncle Tom and all that typical stuff. And this guy was being interviewed by, I think it was Bribeheart.com that happened to be there. And he explained what his position was. He's like, listen, I grew up in Chicago. I come from a very gangster and liberal family. These inner cities and these urban areas, they're basically what I call modern day plantations. Okay, they rely on the government to get all their benefits to live off of. They're fed a false narrative by the media, and they fall for it hook, line, and sinker. So, yeah, when you have all these politicians up there like Mayor Beetlejuice, her actual name is Lori Lightfoot, but if you see a picture of her, she looks just like freaking Michael Keaton as Beetlejuice. I'm willing to bet, too, that a lot of them voted for her just because she's black. But she promised, but she gives these people everything they ask for, even though she's not really giving them anything. But that's another thing too. You notice how not just in Chicago, but a lot of major cities with these inner city areas, they don't put a lot of money into the public schools in those areas, basically because they don't want people that live there educated. They basically want these people to live off of the government and believe everything the media tells them. They get them to think that, they want them to believe the false narrative that the white man is against you, everybody hates you, you are a victim, you're a victim of the system, systemic racism and all that garbage. And this Duron Slater, he said it perfectly. He's like, no, it's all bullcrap. This is America. This is the greatest country in the world. You can be whatever you want to be, no matter where you come from. You just have to work hard at it. And keep in mind, people, before anybody calls me racist or anything for what I just said, those words came from a black man. Because he said it himself. He came from a ghetto liberal family in Chicago, and he's like, listen, I'm not a victim. I'm not a victim. And neither are any of these other people. If they want to have that victim mentality, then that's their problem. That's the problem that they have, is they have been led to believe that they're victims.
Oh, it's very disempowering things that they say about the black community, and it's basically just telling it's just a backhanded insult. It's what it is, and then they're hoping that they buy it, and then they'll vote for them. You poor black people, like, come on. And it's just really, really sad to see that type of disempowerment. And where I have the big disconnect with Black Lives Matter too is I ask the question, well, which Black Lives Matter? Is it the 20 million babies that are aborted, 20 million black babies that are aborted every single year? Is it the black police officers that die during these protests? Is it the black businesses that are failing because of and that are suffering because of what's going on in these cities? Is that what do those Black Lives matter? Nope. The only Black lives that matter are the criminal drug addicts. Those are the only Black lives that matter in the eyes of the liberal communist agenda.
Well, also, of course, the stuff going on in Philadelphia right now, I forget the dude's name that this is over, that was just shot by cops. Was he killed or was he just wounded? Something Jr. is his name. I forget it. Walter something Jr. Is that it? It's something Jr. I know that, but regardless, the guy was wielding a knife at cops. He was wielding a knife. So what do people expect him to do? Just like every other situation that we've been talking about with George Floyd, Rashard Brooks, Breonna Taylor, all of these were justifiable. They were justifiable shootings, killings, whatever. Now, with the exception of maybe the George Floyd one. I mean, that could have been handled a hell of a lot differently.
Agreed.
But Breonna Taylor was not just her in particular. She was not just killed randomly by cops. She was killed in crossfire because her boyfriend shot at the cops. So what do you think they're going to do? Rashard Brooks stole a cop's taser, ran.
They make it sound like they're just standing there, and then they're just being shot. Like, no, that's not what's happening at all. That's not what's happening at all. You have, as a black person, you have a better chance of being struck by lightning than you do being killed by a police officer.
Well, they all seem to think that so many of these people seem to think like the cops have this mentality. They get up in the morning. They think cops get up in the morning and are like, yeah, I'm going to wake up and kill me a black man today or a black person.
Yeah, I'm going to wake up and kill me a black person so that way I can get vilified in the media, lose my job, and probably go to jail. That sounds like a great plan, right? Come on.
Yeah. Craig Sebring. I went to a Cubs game back in the 90s. Chicago, it was a beautiful city. Would not go there now. Yes, I agree, Craig. I'm of the same mentality on that. Sorrowful Rage says, my grandfather was a Republican, my dad being a baby boomer, naturally a Democrat. But when I ask him why he votes Democrat, he doesn't even know why. And let you know, it's funny, interesting comment, Rage, because I was actually going to say this. With all this stuff with the rioting and looting and the Black Lives Matter, do you know the majority of these people have never even been to the Black Lives Matter website?
Nope.
They don't even know, and so they don't even know what it's about. Because if they had actually gone to the BLM website, they would see that all this is a Marxist organization started by three black lesbians who call themselves trained Marxists. But you ask these people if they've ever been to the website. No, they never have been to the website. So they don't even know what they're out there for, essentially. Mike Biederman responded to our question earlier. He says, the reason I think that we are screwed regardless of who becomes president is because Biden is a creepy weirdo and Trump is a liar.
Well, can you explain why you think Trump is a liar? Like, what's he lying about? I mean, he definitely likes to exaggerate on some things. I will say that, but it's portrayal. He's a salesperson. It's what he does. He's trying to sell you something. Now, what he's selling you is still pretty damn good. And I don't have to talk. I can just, I know it seems like forever ago, but look at pre-coronavirus, how our economy was doing. I mean, I was watching a news thing from February 11th of 2020 that just was talking about just how excellent our economy was doing. It was booming. And then it's funny because Obama and Biden want to take credit for that, but really, no. Um, but it was absolutely incredible. The results were there. America was prosperous. It was. He was cruising to reelection in before this, and the Democrats saw that.
Well, I'm not, again, I'm not going conspiracy theory here or anything like that, but it's just amazing how all this stuff pops up during an election year.
Yep, well, the thing that the Democrats know too is that we live in a "what have you done for me lately" type of society, and they know that. Oh, yep, they'll be quick to forget just how good things were before this whole pandemic happened.
Pandemic.
Pandemic. I don't believe a friggin' thing about this whole pandemic. I really don't. I don't believe any of it. I think it's a bunch of bullshit.
I definitely think the numbers are greatly exaggerated. I'll tell you that much.
It's being used as such a political tool. It's been being used as a political tool from the beginning.
Oh, yeah, guys, those of you commenting about it, yeah, LeBron James is a stupid asshole, very uneducated. All these athletes don't have a damn clue what they're talking about. All they're trying to be is attention whores.
Social justice warriors.
Yeah. It's and I'm willing to bet a lot of it is career moves too.
Yeah, just shut the fuck up and play. Whether you're a football player, a basketball player, just shut up and play. Stop being a bunch of social justice warriors. I mean, you may think you're trying to help the black community, but you're not doing anything, okay? Now, the one point that I agree, and this is where I run into, because I consider myself a moderate conservative. Now, there are some areas of my beliefs where I'm socially liberal. I try to be kind of balanced in my view of things. But here's where I'm going to agree with the progressives. The wealth gap in this country is pretty bad, all right? The rich 1% own 90% of this country's wealth. And I think I take issue with that, but this is not an issue that's specific to Donald Trump. In fact, Donald Trump did more to counteract that than any president we've ever had when you look at how the economy was doing. But the fact that these rich, 1%ers get all these tax cuts and tax breaks, and then proceed to get all these government handouts, that's bullshit. It's bullshit. And the way the system is, with the way that the loopholes they can use to avoid paying taxes legally, they can legally do these things, which, yes, Trump took advantage of when he was a businessman. Because why wouldn't you? If you're a business person, why wouldn't you do that? That's a part of the system that needs to be fixed. This wealth gap needs to significantly be changed. But the answer to that is not, I'm taxing the shit out of the rich to pay for pretty much welfare for the entire country. No.
Well, I could be wrong on this, but I remember hearing on Tucker Carlson Live one time that he had this college student on. I can't remember if she was I don't know if she was actually a socialist or if she was just against the rich, whatever. But this girl, college student, go figure, actually said that she wanted all the rich to just give up all their money to everybody else and pay for everything. Well, first off, that's freaking stupid, because if I work, if that's my money and I work to get it, I'm not just going to give it away. But this actually I take that back. This might have been Hannity. This might have been Sean Hannity. It was either Sean Hannity or Tucker Carlson. But their response to her was, "Well, do you realize that if you made all of the 1% give up all their money, it wouldn't cover Social Security for 3 years, or it would only cover Social Security for 3 years."
Yeah. Why do you think all the progressives want to talk about cutting Social Security, or cutting our defense budget, or cutting, there are other certain things that we could probably cut. Yeah, for example, what is it that they give like $6 trillion to this one piece of infrastructure? I forget what it was. Someone was talking about it the other day, and I agree. It could probably go by with about $2 trillion, and you could cut certain things to perhaps, make other things for Americans more affordable. But they want to cut all these things, and then they want to tax the shit out of the rich people. Which, yes, the rich people should pay taxes, but it's not going to work. It's not sustainable. You can't do it that way.
No, you can't. Let's see. Sorrowful Rage says that free money makes a man numb. Yeah, that's true. Cowboys Longhorns asks, did you guys hear about the Thanksgiving COVID guidelines in California? It's a joke. Is that like how it wasn't only like 5 people or something you could have in a house or whatever?
Listen to that shit. They can wipe their ass with those COVID guidelines.
Well, it's California, so nothing surprises me about that state.
It's all off the United States by now from some earthquake.
Yeah, make it the movie Escape from L.A. with Kurt Russell. Craig Sebring says, I've said that all of a sudden when this pandemic, there are no cancer or heart issues, and it's a fact that in Pennsylvania, New York, and New Jersey, over 40% of these deaths were from the governors that put the sick in nursing homes.
Yep. I know who the biggest perpetrator of that one was.
Could it be Cuomo?
Cuomo.
Survey says, ding.
The brother of disgraced CNN reporter Fredo Cuomo. What a piece of shit that guy is. What a piece of shit. Did you see the way he tried to bait Ice Cube?
No, I didn't watch that. I just knew Ice Cube was on there.
He tried to accuse Ice Cube and give him heat about how he ran over to the Trump team, and Ice Cube went on there and destroyed him. So of course Fredo Cuomo backtracks. Oh, I guess I was wrong.
It's like
Fredo Cuomo. He knew. He just but he got exposed, so he had to make it look like, all right, I just made an honest mistake,
No,
Sorry about that.
No, you just said something stupid. No, basically, let's just say it. He was shocked that it was a black entertainer who actually is willing to work with Donald Trump, and he doesn't like that.
He was willing to work with anybody. He wants to work with anybody who has a chance of doing anything. He makes a point when he talks about the fact that, yes, there is an income equality issue. And that much I can agree on with Bernie Sanders on. There is a big income equality issue, but the way we're going to solve it is not by doing this. My alternative would be, I think that the tax, that's one of those things that I feel like shouldn't be at a state level, because when you have it at a state level and you try to make any type of change with the tax system, not that you really can anyway, because the billionaires run this country and they're not going to allow anything like that to happen. But the solution that just happens is we're getting the shit taxed out of us now up here in New York, so we're going to get up and move because we have the money to get up and move, unlike the middle class and the lower class do. We can just get up and move, and that leaves the middle class to pick up the slack there of the rich people that moved. My solution would be that the tax should be decided at a federal level, and it should be the same for all the states. And it should be a very reasonable number, because then, and then fix the loopholes, and then the rich end up paying the majority of the tax anyway, but it ends up being an acceptable number that they'll be okay paying if they have to. And then with them making up the threshold, then the middle class and the lower class prosper. That's the way it should be done. Economics 101. Quit letting the tax be decided at a state level.
That'd be a good idea. I'd like to give that a try, see how it'd work.
Oh, sorrowful rage. It's gonna be your username says it all. Sorrowful rage. That's what you're gonna see on the liberal news stations.
Oh, I loved it back in 2016. They were you could just see how miserable they were, and I loved every second of it.
Rachel Maddow was one of the worst.
Yeah, Rachel Maddow, woman who looks like a guy. Honestly, I know you won't know this, Eric, but Rachel Maddow, she looks like Lewis from the movie Revenge of the Nerds.
I know Revenge of the Nerds.
Okay, she looks like Lewis. Same hairdo and everything. Yeah. Sometimes the same glasses.
She looks like a lot of things. None of them are good.
Well, you definitely know that she's the guy in her sexual relationship.
Probably.
I don't even want to. Actually, why did I say that? I don't want to picture her
Cowboys,
naked.
Longhorns. That's the one time that CNN is going to actually have high ratings. When all of us Republicans turn in and conservatives, and we all watch them cry, and we point and laugh and go, ha 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 ha. I'm gonna get out when Trump wins. Stay tuned for my YouTube channel. I'm gonna blow this shit up. I am not even lying. I am not fucking around. I am gonna come on here and I'm gonna rub it so much in their face. I can't wait to see just the type of despicable things that are said in the comment section.
Well, you see, that's the thing with your videos, Eric. You got to make sure that you add some search tags to them, because that could actually help people find you.
Oh yeah, I put Amy Coney Barrett confirmed in mine, which that'll draw some angry, at least whatever angry liberals I can draw. But
I mean, like after you upload a video and it says more features, click on that and it'll let you add tags to your video. So that way you could put in there, you could just put like Donald Trump, Amy Coney Barrett, all these different tags, I'll
put Trump supporter makes liberals cry.
Well, I'm not talking about your title.
No.
Do you know what I'm talking about with the search tags?
Yeah, no, I know what you mean.
Okay. Yeah, no, I mean, yeah. The title will do a lot, of course. I'm just trying to give you suggestions. That's all.
Gotcha.
But yeah, Mike and Craig. Yeah, I'd like to see how they're really going to enforce those Thanksgiving policies. Not going to happen. Sorrowful Rage says, "Go Notre Dame." Awesome. Craig Sebring says, "I saw Van Jones from CNN, and he called it a white lash." Or do you mean white trash?
No, white lash against a black. Yeah, I remember the whole thing. He says, and it's a white lash. It's a white lash against a black president. It's blah 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 blah. He just, no, it was a pushback of the same old status quo. That's what it was a pushback on. But no, everyone just wants to assume, yep, everyone voted for Trump because they hated that we voted in a black president. Even though, the same people that voted for friggin' Trump in that 2016 election, a lot of them voted for Obama. So you're a dumbass. I mean, what a dumb statement to make. What a raging moron. Like, unbelievably stupid. A majority of Trump voters voted for friggin' Obama. Didn't you vote for Obama twice?
Did I?
Yeah.
No, I only voted for Obama in the first election. I did go with Romney the second time around.
Because Obama was talking about doing the exact same things that Trump said he's doing, except Obama didn't do them and Trump did.
This obsession that people have with race, it just boggles my mind. It's like, and the majority of the people doing it are liberals. These people are the most race obsessed people, if you can even call them people, that I've ever seen. I mean, I thought the idea was to, during the civil rights movement in the 60s, was to get beyond that. But no, these wackos today want to take us right back there.
Except they want white people to be the ones that are hated.
Yeah. It's unbelievable.
It's crazy how many white people are talking about how much bad white people are. Yeah, white people suck. I remember that one video where it's like, white people, you guys really sucked in 2017. Here's what we can do better.
Well, all these white guilt people who are actually sorry for being white. I mean, I've encountered a lot of them, and I told you about, several times about how I got into it with a former Notre Dame football player over this, who believes all this Black Lives Matter crap. And it was me and my Irish buddy Jerry going against him and his white guilt friend from Connecticut, who actually is a grade school teacher, which is very scary because this, and listening to that guy's views, it's just scary thinking this is a guy who actually teaches the kids in America. But it was ridiculous. I mean, this guy actually said that, this white guilt guy who's a teacher, he actually said that give it 40 years from now, we won't see people around, so we won't have all the problems that we do today. And I'm like, damn, dude, could you make any more of a eugenist statement right there? Saying that things are actually going to be better when more white people die off. I mean, well,
here's the thing, Sorrowful Rage. You're going to see a lot of you're going to see the college vote go down significantly because of the COVID. College vote recruiters and all that stuff. None of that's happening. There's no chance for as much college indoctrination. And I think you're going to see the college vote go down significantly.
Well, Sorrowful Rage, to add on to that comment as well, you know why that is? Why a lot of these college kids support stuff like that? And I think I covered this in not the last stream, but the stream before that we did. It's because they specifically target the incoming freshmen. Okay, now I'll repeat this again. When you're a freshman in college, unless you have gone to boarding school or were a foreign exchange student somewhere, college is your first time living away from home. And these kids are scared. They're in a completely new environment, a hostile environment. They don't know what to expect. They're basically pissing their pants. They're going to do whatever they feel they need to do just to fit in. So if that means going along with the quote unquote hip professor that is preaching all this communism and socialism and all that garbage, they're going to go with it. And of course, they're going to follow the students, the upperclassmen that have already been there for a couple of years and have bought into this garbage. They're going to follow that. So it's a repeating pattern of destruction. And I actually got into it on a Notre Dame football message board. I got into it with a lady who was actually an assistant professor at Notre Dame, and I called her out on it big time because she told me we were getting into it over Black Lives Matter and Amy Coney Barrett and all that. And she told me that, oh, well, if you're such against Black Lives Matter, Sean, go cheer for another school then. Go cheer for another team. We don't want you. And I'm like, oh, okay, so I have to agree with Black Lives Matter just because the Notre Dame football team supports it? No, I don't think so. I don't support what those guys' politics are. I'm supporting what they do on the field, not their politics. And then I told her straight up, I'm like, you know why these kids believe what the crap that they do? Because of people like you. And she's like, what do you mean people like me? Because are you talking about my race? Because I think she was Middle Eastern, I think. I could be wrong. I said, no, people like you, as in college professors, the majority of you are a cancer on our society. Because these people indoctrinate these vulnerable young kids who are trying to make it in the world. They're trying to fit in. And there's really no balance whatsoever with these professors. A lot of them, you find out, are liberal extremists who are pushing their radical views. And these kids who are in college for one semester, they come back home and they think they have everything figured out when really they've just spent a semester becoming indoctrinated. So, yeah, I told this woman straight up, this professor from Notre Dame, you are a cancer. But, of course, I find out that what she teaches is Arabic and Islamic studies. But I'll save that for another topic.
How about the ones who they're in there teaching all this globalism nonsense? I mean, my girlfriend, some of my girlfriend's assignments, talking about globalism. A pretty left wing idealism right there, and so they've been talking about globalism, the white supremacy nonsense. It's a bunch of bullshit. Bunch of bullshit.
Like I said, it's a teachers in public schools, sometimes private schools as well, and college professors, like I said, that are pushing their extremist agenda. And why the university or the school puts up with it, I don't know. But yeah, Sorrowful Rage says, I'd lose every game if Notre Dame would be truly Catholic again. You're right, Sorrowful Rage. Notre Dame is quickly losing its Catholic identity. They actually are pushing more for Islam than they are Catholicism. But I remember these last few years going up there and just things being so different that it wasn't even funny. And I'm like, this place, if it wasn't for, Touchdown Jesus and the Basilica, you would never think that it was a Catholic university. But it's amazing. It's
an interesting point that you made earlier about the teacher in Connecticut who was a school teacher, because one of my former teachers, who I still have a lot of respect for, regardless of her politics, because she was just a great teacher for me. She's on my friends list. She clearly sees my political views, but she's never once gotten on there and chastised me, which I can respect. But I do have to say that I read one of her comments, and I wasn't going to reply to it. I'm not going to comment on none of her stuff because she's not on there chastising me, so I'm not going to do that to her. But I did read where, in her profile picture is a black screen or a black backdrop, and it says, "If you are neutral in situations of oppression, then you have chosen the side of the oppressor." Or or situations of injustice, then you're choosing the side of the oppressor, or something like that. And in one of her comments, she had, oh yeah, and we've been teaching our kids about their privilege, a place of privilege in the world just because of the color of their skin, and la-di-da-di-da. And I'm just like, no, come on. Why do you have to do this?
Don't bring it to the damn classroom. Teach the kids what they're supposed to know, their basics, math, science, history. Quit pushing your damn agenda on kids.
I think she was talking about her own kids. I don't see her as someone who brings up politics. I don't see her as someone who, she's talking about her own children.
Yeah, I thought you were talking about her students.
I can't see her bringing her politics to the classroom, because if she was the type of person to do that, she probably would have chastised me already.
That's a good point. Yeah, I thought you were talking about her students, but still, though, even to her own kids, don't feed your kids a bunch of stupid nonsense.
Disempowering. Just disempowering to your kids. Why would you want them to be ashamed of who they are?
Yeah, it's sickening. I'm not privileged because of my color. Everything. Let me tell you something. Everything I have in my life, I've worked very hard for. Okay, if you actually saw me growing up, the last thing you would say is freaking privileged.
I've grown up in a middle-class family, and I'm going to be a middle-class citizen my entire life.
Well, put it this way. Do you know, this is not a pity party. This isn't. It's just a fact. Do you know how many times I moved growing up? A lot. A lot. I mean, it was just my mom, my brother, and I, most of the time in a 2-bedroom apartment, usually on maybe a 2-year contract, and then before you know it, we'd have to move again. A lot of moving for me growing up. And look, I'm not of course my father was in the picture. You know, him and my mom divorced. My dad was in the picture, and it wasn't that he just up and left the family, no. But, you know, my mother was the primary parent that we lived with, and that's where we were going to school and all that. And you get how it works. You know what I'm saying.
He didn't have primary. Your mother had primary custody.
Yes.
Your dad had visitations.
Yes, he did. And he cared very much. He cared very much about us. He spent time with us. He paid his child support. Everything it was the farthest thing from a deadbeat dad. But just our living situation, that's how it was. We were, so basically what I'm getting at with myself is, yeah, I always had to share a room with my brother. Never really had my own room to just get my own privacy, that kind of thing. Didn't always have the newest game system or toy, whatever. So, of course, there were a lot of times where all the kids would have the new gizmo, gadget, whatever at school. I'd be left out because we couldn't afford it. So, yeah, I would say I am the farthest thing from privileged that I am. And I probably screwed up there, but, you know, when I get going, I mess up sometimes. But all I'm saying is I'm the farthest thing from privileged. I was never privileged. I wasn't without. I wasn't without, but I certainly was not privileged. We had to earn everything that we got. And I'm not playing the victim card.
No, I don't think anyone needs to play the victim card. I think we need to start empowering people. And I think we need someone, and this is why. And you want to know a candidate? And I think I've said this before on here. You know a candidate that I would love even more than I love Donald Trump? I would love this candidate 1 million.
I know who you're talking about.
I would love this candidate. If it were between her and Donald Trump, I'd vote for her. I wouldn't even think twice about it. Candace Owens. Because she is just such an empowering person. She's all about trying to empower the black community. Wake up, get your heads out of your asses, stop believing this bullshit, and just go out and live your life in a way that could give you success. She's an empowering figure.
The stuff she says is amazing. She is very intelligent, well-educated, very attractive too. I'll say that. But I don't want to make this. I don't want to make this perverted.
I don't want to get in trouble either if my girlfriend comes back and watches this. Oh, you like Candace Owens now?
Well, you see, I'm single, so I can say it. You can't, so you're screwed, buddy.
I am. I have to keep it to myself.
Well, not if, like you said, it's already out there now. Your girlfriend's going to hear this if she comes back and watches.
I didn't make any statements.
Sorry for it.
To Cardi B, because Cardi B is one of the most disgraceful female celebrities out there. She's despicable. She's despicable.
We talked about this last night. You said she stuck her finger up her ass and put it on Twitter.
Oh yeah. She's and just look at the music she puts out. She's disgusting. She is just an example of what women should not want to be portrayed. You want to know who's a good example of the way women should be? Candace Owens, Amy Coney Barrett. Amy Coney Barrett is the type of woman that Women should be celebrating that feminists should be celebrating that a woman of that intelligence, of that high class, and high esteem, was just promoted to the highest level of the judicial system. Why would any woman be upset about that?
Well, I think I told you this last night. And I told my buddy up in my conservative friend up in Chicago last night in a text. You know why all the feminists hate her or hate them is because they're not. Yeah, exactly. They're not a liberal. They're actually well spoken. They're attractive, and they're not pigs. Basically, that these feminists, what they think of Candace Owens and Amy Coney Barrett, it's equivalent to when a black person calls one of their own an Uncle Tom. That's what it's equivalent to.
You're not following the narrative. What's wrong with you? This is the way it is, you know?
Exactly.
No. Anytime anyone tries to question that stuff or think for themselves, you know, and anyone who's a free thinker, that's what they're, or you're a bigot.
Yeah.
You're a bigot, you know, what? Ridiculous.
Real quick to address this, Craig Sebring says, it's sad. I went to a Notre Dame game back in 1990 against Air Force, and after the game, we all appreciated the academy. Now I saw that 1 Foot Down said we should not play Navy. Well, Craig, I don't want to badmouth 1 Foot Down because a couple of our friends on my other show with my buddy Ben, they've done some writing for 1 Foot Down, but that's if they did say that, that's pretty sad because those service academies, there's so much honor and respect there with those games. And as much as the option is a pain in the ass, you can't beat that respect. So to say that we shouldn't play Navy is ridiculous. Yeah, and Craig says, but the point being that my buddy was at a Notre Dame versus Navy game, and the students booed Navy after a win instead of appreciating what these young men will be doing for them. Yeah, that's not cool. Not cool, but just to play devil's advocate a slight bit here, it was probably during a down year and the frustrations got the better of them. But that's still not right, though.
Oh, you mean with if Notre Dame was having a bad year?
Yeah.
Yeah, probably. Plus, I mean, Notre Dame fans were booing Navy, right?
That's what he said. I wasn't. I mean, I don't think I was.
I think that's a football thing.
Yeah, probably. I
know that it's Syracuse games. I boo every single opposing team that comes in when I'm at the games. I always boo the opposing team. Always.
Yeah, that's a good point. They probably weren't booing them for being servicemen. They were probably just booing the game part of it. Which, if it's a game part of it, okay, I understand that because regardless of who you play the game to win. You want to crush whoever you're playing.
Oh yeah, I boo the shit out of the opposing team all the time. I miss when I used to be able to go to football games and have fun.
Yeah. Yeah, now there's always some kind of demonstration or political statement or whatever being made.
That, or you just can't even go to them.
Yeah, now because of COVID.
Or you're looking look at how bad. And let's talk about, this is something that we haven't even gotten a chance to talk about. How about how Notre Dame has looked at times this year, and just how bad Syracuse is. Like, did you even foresee just how bad the Orange are?
No, I thought they were going to be at least a 5 or 6 win team. I really thought they had a chance to be. I mean, I don't follow them like you do, but I didn't think
anymore. I haven't watched a game that they've played since they lost to Duke.
I mean, I will say this though, it's definitely hard to, when your team is having a bad year, it's definitely hard to watch them when you realize the first couple of games in that this season is not going to be good. It's really hard to watch them, and I've been that way. I've been there with the Irish before too. I mean, 2007 we went 3-9. 2016 we went 4-8. It's tough. It really is tough. But at that point,
I've been able to watch, but there's just been nothing that's engaged me because I've had the election stuff to follow. I can't even. What it's kept me engaged is when I can be at the football games and when I can be up close and personal. Without that, I really have zero motivation to pay attention to Syracuse football, particularly when they're sucking this much, when college football is so disorganized the way it is. It doesn't even feel like college football. I don't even want to watch it.
Sorrow for Rage says, a comment for you. I thought Syracuse gave Clemson a run for their money until late in the game. Gave me hope that Clemson can be beat.
That was more about Clemson playing bad. I mean, they fumbled the ball. We recovered it and put it in the end. Eventually, put it in the end zone. Another time, they threw a pick six, and then the other one was a fluke 83-yard touchdown pass from our. Other than that, the offense did virtually nothing, and Clemson was just kind of poking around until they eventually just gave it to us late in the game. There was nothing hope inducing about that game for me.
There's a small thing. I mean, that's still, regardless of how it happened, you guys still turned a turnover into points. That's a very positive thing. That's a positive way to look at it. You were forcing takeaways. You were making some plays. No, the end result wasn't what you wanted, but there are some positives to look at that. Or to see.
But when you see the offense just look as bad as they have, there's no point. And the defense is so bad. The defense is horrible. I mean, how do you get your ass kicked by Liberty? Like, it wasn't even close. Got our asses beat. And we haven't even looked remotely competitive in most of the games we've played.
Well, like I said, dude, I understand your frustration. And Craig Sebring says, in regards to the booing, it was in 2018 after the game when each team went to appreciate the fan base like they do after the Army-Navy game. And we do that. Like, Notre Dame will go to Navy's corner for their alma mater. The Navy will come with us to our corner for ours. And yeah, I didn't know about that, Craig, but we obviously 2018 we would have won, so I don't see why they would have been booing. That's making me think a little bit.
Mike Biederman says in 2016 ND went 4-8. In 2017 the Cleveland Browns went 0-16. The one common denominator of that, and that was DeShone Kizer. You know what, Mike? I'm gonna disagree. Maybe he's not a great NFL quarterback, even though I think he has the tools to be. I think his height is in his favor. I think his arm is in his favor. I think he left too early. I think he left Notre Dame too early. He wasn't ready yet, and now he's ruined his prospects of really being as good as he could have been. Now, in 2016, I think the last person that can be blamed for that season was DeShone Kizer. I think you can blame the coaching staff in a lot of situations. For example, that NC State game where it was 10-3 in a monsoon. And what is Notre Dame doing? Throwing the ball. Why are you throwing the ball? I mean, even the announcers were like, "What the hell are you doing?"
Yeah,
run the ball.
I don't know what Kelly was trying to do that game, but it wasn't working.
No, none of it was working, and the defense, mind you, also was just despicably bad. And then by the end of the year, I could, like the USC game and some other games, it just looked like the team had just kind of mailed it in. They weren't playing for much at that point. And honestly, when I watched in the games I saw of DeShone Kizer, I think the last person you could blame that year was really him. You know, he wasn't even supposed to be the guy. It was supposed to be Malik Zaire.
Yeah, because Malik, see what happened was the year before in 2015, Malik Zaire tore his ACL about I think it was the second game of the year against Virginia. He tore his ACL. DeShone Kizer came in, and nobody knew what we had with DeShone Kizer exactly because he hadn't seen any time. But he led us to some great things in that season. It was a surprise.
And he was and honestly, he He's pretty good. I thought he was really good. I thought he left too early, and I
So,
thought he went to play for a terrible coach. I mean, I think Hugh Jackson's a moron.
sorrowful rage. I can't say that word on the air, but I agree with you about Fire Guy. But hey, you know what, Fire Guy? If that's how you feel, why don't you come on here? Here's the link to the stream. Come on here and discuss it with us.
Come on, man. If we're so clueless, you must know everything. So why don't you get on here and school us? Teach us
Yes.
a thing or two. Maybe our minds could be changed. Maybe you can teach us the error of our ways.
I bet he won't, though.
Maybe he can. Who knows? My mind can be changed. I'm not closed-minded. I see a lot of the progressive ways of thinking, and I also see a lot of I'm mostly conservative, but I'd say I'm a moderate conservative. I feel like my mind can be changed. I'm that 20%. You have 40% of committed Republicans, 40% of committed Democrats that come to the polls every year, and I am that 20% in between that can have their mind changed. That I'm not just going to vote Democrat or vote Republican. I'm going to vote for whoever I think is the best candidate, whether they're Democrat or Republican. Now, it just so happens that I haven't found any Democrats that have earned my vote. That's for sure. There have been no Democrats that have earned my vote. The closest Democrat that could have earned my vote if she ever got nominated was Tulsi Gabbard. I didn't think she was a complete far left crazy. Thought she was reasonable. If she'd have been nominated, I would have liked to have seen more of her perhaps than what I got to see of Tulsi Gabbard, because I really liked the way she ripped into Kamala Harris, and out of all of them, I really liked her the best of all the Democratic nominees up there.
I remember that. So please, Fire Guy, put up or shut up one time. I'd like to see one of you guys, just please, one of you guys actually put up or shut up. Quit being a pussy and show your face. Well, hell, actually, you know what? I could be wrong here, but let me see. Let me see something. I was thinking that you could hide your face on here, that you didn't have to show it.
Yeah, you don't even have to show your face. You can even you don't even have to do that. You can just join.
Yeah,
oh yeah, and but my thing with Tulsi Gabbard is I don't know a ton about her, and I can kind of tell how these politicians and their robotic, scripted, talking points, and their rhetoric and the stuff that they spew, and I don't know if she's just one of those robotic politicians or not, and then they end up getting exposed as robotic politicians. Just that. I know one interview I watched of her. I think she came on Fox News, which is pretty ballsy of her. I'm going to say that, but I think she kind of looked like a deer in headlights in one interview with Hannity. I think it was.
Okay, so Fire Guy, I've heard this before. You say no, I would just be wasting my time. Then why the hell are you even here?
But
why are you here watching?
Fire time. You're not wasting your time because I'm willing to listen to another side of the argument here. Okay.
Yeah, we're not going to just. You think we're going to just rip you? No, I want to hear what we said that was so wrong.
I'm a moderate conservative. I'm the 20% in the middle. All right. I consider myself pretty in the middle for the most part. And I'd like to hear what you have to say. I am no committed Republican. There are Republicans I can't stand. You know who I can't stand? I fucking hate Mitch McConnell. I think he's one of the most worthless Republicans out there. Worthless. It's people like him and people like Nancy Pelosi on the other side who are delaying the stimulus.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of another. This guy you wouldn't know too much about, but another Republican that I feel the same way about is Bruce Rauner here in the state of Illinois when he was our governor. He was a rhino, Republican in name only. Piece of shit.
I can't. Mitch McConnell is just a typical sleazebag politician, is what he is. Useless. No, but Fire Guy, you can, even if you don't change my mind, you might find out that we have more in common than you think.
He just doesn't want to show his face. And I even said all you have to do is just cover your webcam. See? Put like a cloth or
over your off. Use your mic. Just don't even have the camera on. Watch, I can turn my camera off like this. Watch. See, look at now I'm nothing, right? You can just easily just do that. No one will even have to know who you are.
Okay, there we go. Sorry, I was just playing around there for a second.
Hopefully not playing around like the CNN reporter.
Nope. Nope, I wouldn't mute your mic or anything like that.
No. You don't know what I'm talking about.
Not exactly. No, I was just...
The CNN reporter. Did you know there was a CNN reporter that didn't think his... I forget what they were on a call about, but this one far left liberal reporter, he got caught, stimulating himself on camera. He thought his thing was... Yep.
Yikes. I mean...
That's
wow.
funny.
Why would you do that in public?
I think he thought his camera wasn't on.
Camera off or camera on, doesn't matter. Why would you not go to a bathroom or something?
Couldn't help himself. And well, I don't know if he had some female colleagues he particularly liked, but it didn't look good for him. Tubin, yep, that's what the guy's name is. That's what his name was.
Yeah, Sorrowful Rage. Fire Guy is a bundle of sticks. I'm actually thinking about just deleting him because he's wasting our time. He himself is a waste in general. It's like we're a waste of time. See, that's the thing I can't stand. Is he contradicts himself so badly, like a lot of other people that have showed up here. Oh, you guys aren't worth my time, but yet he's here watching us. It's funny.
We'd respect the hell out of you if you came on here. Even if we didn't end up getting our minds changed, I'd be like, look, thanks for actually coming on. Like, we'd appreciate it if you came on. Our view of you would be completely different.
Oh, now he said Trump started a race war and killed 200,000 people. This guy is just...
the race war, and Trump did not kill 200K people. He probably actually saved over 1.8 million lives with his actions and how he responded to coronavirus. He responded earlier than anyone else. No one else was even, and there wasn't a single Democrat that was talking about this at all when Donald Trump closed off the border to China. And they were calling him xenophobic for doing that. And you can find interviews of Democratic mayors like one Bill de Blasio of New York City, saying, oh, business as usual, nothing's going to happen. Cuomo's on there saying the same things. No one was giving a shit about this COVID-19. There was no other politician that could have been in office that was going to close down anything as soon as Trump did. So you can miss me with that bullshit. The blaming Trump for the pandemic. Trump also didn't start a race war. No, didn't happen. But you still won't come on here. That's why if I sound irritated, I'm more irritated that you won't come on here. Come on, get on here.
It's because he's too much of a pussy. These guys just love to talk, and they're afraid to show their face for whatever reason.
Because I guarantee you look more of a bitch than I do right now. I guaranteed.
And it's funny that people like to come on here and dog us, but we actually have the balls because we show up on here.
I mean, Fire Guy, what are you going to do when Trump wins again?
Well, he's already hiding, so he has that part down.
Hiding like Biden.
That was pretty good.
Hiding with Biden. Are you in your basement?
See, like all these people that have showed up just to screw with us, I'd actually have some respect for them if they actually came on here and had a discussion with us instead of just being just a waste all the time.
Waste of time.
I know. I might just.
I've been looking for was I was hoping, and me and Sean talked about this, was the possibility of him being able to find a liberal to bring on the show and we could have a debate. Yeah. Trump pansies. Yep. Now I know who this is. I know who this is. I know this is Uncle Lou. This is Uncle Lou because Trump pansies is exactly how he referred to. He made a video when Trump won the election, and then the hypocrisy of people, of the Republicans who talked about how they didn't like the Electoral College, and now that Trump lost the popular vote but won the Electoral College, all the Trump pansies are they all love the Electoral College now, which he made a point there. There's probably a lot of hypocrisy in that, but Trump pansies. Yep, I know who this is.
You would know. I don't watch him. But
nope, I know that's exactly how Uncle Lou referred to.
Oh, you mean Uncle Walter?
Uncle Walter. Yep.
All right. Well, like I said, you know, he wants to play with fire. I'll give him some fire. Because you know what they say about playing with fire, you eventually get burned, right?
I wish there was a feature where you could just press a button and they'd automatically be pulled into the live stream. Wonder how they'd react.
I know. It's funny, Walter. You know, you always want me to you always come on here and make the stupid comments. Oh, free Lou, free Uncle Lou, free Uncle Lou. I'm giving you the chance to be on the show and you're saying no because you're a coward. That's your true character, Walter.
Wait, what's his address, Sean?
I got it.
We know where you live, Uncle Lou.
Well, you know, I mean, like I said, you know, I'm a pretty nice, chill, and laid back guy. But you know, regardless of what kind of person you are, you can only be pushed so far. And
guys are crying. You know, see, no denial. No denial. We know who this is.
Oh, crying snowflakes, but yet
I hope that he just put his in fact, if you ever find out you could always PM it to me and I could join an Uncle Lou live stream and I can just post it in the comments in a super chat.
Well, I'll say this, Walter. If you don't want any more problems for your family, which I'm sure you've caused enough already, you stop doing this. And I'm dead freaking serious. And it's funny, you know, calling us snowflakes, but who was it that flagged a video of mine a year ago because they couldn't take the heat? While in that conversation, you were telling me and lecturing me on, oh, if you're going to make YouTube videos, then you got to expect what all is coming. But yet I expose this conversation. I expose him in a video and he flags it.
George is a joke. There'll never be anything serious. But anyways, I got to get going. I got to log off here. So.
All right, man. Well, it was fun tonight.
It was. Unfortunately, we couldn't bring in any new viewers, but thought maybe.
Hey, you know what? With the exception of Uncle Walter here, and for those of you who don't know, Walter is Uncle Lou's actual real name. He goes by his middle name Derek, but his real first name is Walter. Aside from him,
why does he not like his first name? Like, why does he not like his God-given name?
I don't know. Well, first off, he doesn't believe in God, so I don't know. You'd have to ask him that.
CNN is a lying network. They don't report accurately. I'm not saying Fox News has the best reporting all the time. They are a mainstream media outlet. But I'll tell you what, they've certainly got a hell of a lot more honest reporters on there than CNN does. You know, Sean Hannity, he isn't a complete, you know, sucker for the Republican Party. He's not. And you know, he has the capability to ask some tough questions. He does ask the questions that need to be asked. All right, but he isn't out there trying to implicate people. He's not out there trying to bring people down. All right, he's on there doing a job. He's a reporter. Okay, so CNN is an absolute joke. It's terrible.
I honestly, I don't really need. I don't really watch any of these networks, Fox included. So yeah, Sorrowful Rage. Fire Guy is actually Uncle Lou under a fake name.
But anyways, I'm gonna get going. So
all right. Oh, hey, real quick, Eric. You down for an election night live stream on next Tuesday?
Sure thing. Might have some guests with me. We'll do a live stream, a reaction of the election as things go on.
Well, obviously, we're not going to be. I'm not going to do it all night until. But we'll give some commentary on like some of the calls and whatnot, and yeah. So, but yeah, to everyone,
liberal trolls. If you want to see Trump supporters cry, then make sure you come tune in to our election day stream.
Sounds good, man. So to all our regulars, like Craig and Sorrowful Rage and Mike and Texas Cowboy, or I'm sorry, Longhorn Cowboys, Mike, all you guys, thanks for being here. It's a blast as always. And we don't let one loser ruin our fun here. So on that note, guys, election special live stream this coming Tuesday. So we will see you then.
I am excited as hell to see how election night unfolds.
And it'll be interesting to see how many fake accounts Uncle Walter comes here with.
All right, take care, everyone.
Have a good night.